this is like finding out, like, that one like Hollywood crush on you had on like in high school or something like that. Suddenly, in today's day, now has a leaked video of them, and you're like, ooh, like I'm kind of interested for a nostalgic sake, but also I'm like, I don't know. All right, welcome to another episode of Two Fight Fans, where we talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Colin.
And I'm a white trash fight fan, Stuart.
Cool. Very much, yes, possibly. Yeah,
No, 100%. I'm eating raw croutons and having a gin and tonic. That's white. Yeah. Anyway, Colin, let's talk about this shit. Did you watch the fights this past weekend?
I watched Moreno and Erceg.
And nothing else?
No, man. Also, I feel like it started at an earlier time than I was expecting again, because I was like tuning in. I was like, all right, I'm ready for this, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, we're already at the like main event. What the fuck?
You gotta be looking this shit up, my dude.
That's partially on me.
This shit up. Yeah,
but
it's
I did
100% on you.
But I do want to say, I called the Moreno decision. I feel like I get 2 points for that one, man, because that's one of our main picks there.
No, you get 1 point. It was I guess 2 points. Sure.
Yeah. I'm in 20 then. Thank you.
So Colin's 1 point ahead of me, because here's the thing. I called decision Erceg. He called Moreno decision. We'll say he gets 2 points. Else, he was entirely wrong. Let's remember that.
Yeah, I was. That was pretty rough.
Let's remember that. So okay then. If you only watched the main event, tell me, Colin, what did you think of the main event, and how did you score it for Erceg and Moreno?
I'm glad you asked. I was just going to ask you this as well, because they had it 4-1, right?
Yeah.
All three judges scored at 4-1. I had it. I'm trying to find exact scorecards. I want to find exactly like which judges scored what, because let me see here. Okay. Nope. Wrong fight. Trying to pull it up. All right.
What did you have?
I had. So I definitely had the first and last rounds to Moreno. Third round I had to Erceg. So yeah, same as all of them. But I'm trying to remember, which was the round that Erceg basically only landed like 2 strikes. Was that the second or fourth round? Because it was the other one. I had it 3-2. That was the fourth round. Okay, where he basically basically nothing landed for him. So yeah, I think I did score. And I might have been a little generous on the second run, on the second round with him, but I definitely thought it was a little bit closer than 4-1, but yeah. What about you? What did you have?
Yeah, I also had 3-2. I had round 1 to Erceg, round 2 and 3, round 1 to Moreno, round 2 and 3 to Erceg. Round 4 was like such a fucking toss-up. It could have gone either way, and then round 5 definitely to Moreno. But not mad at the scores.
No.
I feel like, Moreno won it. But again, this thing of like, God, Erceg, they've done him no favors, man. They just keep doing him dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's real tough.
Anything that impressed you, didn't impress you? How we feeling about both fighters coming out of this?
Well, this is now like another big profile fight that Erceg lost. It came down to the last round, and on yours and my cards, not the official scorecards, but that last round, he loses it on a takedown, and like that. It's like, we've been talking about how the lighter divisions, you've got to have a well-rounded game. It seems like Steve Erceg hasn't really figured the ground game or the prevention of going to the ground at that level that he's currently fighting at. I think this will work against, like maybe ranks 8 and above, you know?
Yeah.
But like you take some of these other like newer flyweights coming in who are very grappling, wrestling heavy, like a Tatsuro Taira. Like what will happen to him against that, you know? But again, I will say his striking was very clean and very crisp. I did like what I saw. It was very, by the book, orthodox. Like I liked what I saw. Moreno was kind of like we said, kind of like a little wild and random. Would get his shots here and there, but from a pure technical standpoint, I thought Steve Erceg was like way sharper than Brandon Moreno, and it is showing. It's like what you highlighted before. Those 4 fights that Brandon Moreno had have like, yeah, they took a lot out of him and probably his opponents as well. So him challenging against someone like, I don't think he can beat Pantoja. I don't think he'll be able to beat Kai Kara France. I think he's going to be.
He's already beaten Kai Kara France.
I mean, the Kai Kara France that I saw recently, I think is much more dynamic and has evolved more since fighting Brandon Moreno the first time.
Okay.
And the amount of change and evolution from Kai Kara France, I think, is more radical than what I've seen from Brandon Moreno. So I still like him. He's an entertaining fighter, and he's very you want to root for him. Like he's a character that has like a lot going for him, and you want to root for the guy. But in a division that is so explosive and dynamic, and you've kind of alluding to this, like it's kind of evolving. I don't know how much more he has in that. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's still a top 5 fighter, though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We saw that in this. Like, he's still dynamic. I mean, he definitely has regressed a little bit. I feel bad mostly for Erceg having to take this fight because it's just like he looked great. I would say anyone in the top 15 through 10 he would have beaten.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like Tim Elliott, he would have won. He's just fighting a great fighter at elevation over 5 rounds, and even though it was scored 4-1, I had it 3-2.
I had it 3-2 as well. Yeah,
3-2 Erceg, right? Like, I wouldn't have been mad at that. Yeah, it makes it tough, and it makes it tough for Moreno too, because he's lost 3 times to Pantoja. So, like, what do you do with him as well? So, yeah, I like Colin. We have to ask, like, where. Looking at flyweight right now, how do you match up the top 10 of this division? Because we know we have Pantoja versus Kai Kara France scheduled. We just had number 1 versus number 8 fight.
Yep. Number 2 fight.
Number 2, right. We've got Brandon Royval in there. We've got
Brandon Royval just fought someone too, right? He just fought Tatsuro Taira.
Yeah, and beat Tatsuro Taira.
Yep.
Tatsuro Taira is coming off a loss. We have Manal Kopp coming off the win against Aso Amabayev. Alex Perez, who's just kind of this weird perennial contender that isn't really in there.
We've
got Ulanbekov, who's also in there. Tim Elliott, Bruno Silva. We've also got Josh Van coming up. Ray Saruya is also in this division. It's kind of a weird top of flyweight. So what do we do? What are the top 3 or 4 matchups we do at flyweight?
All right, so
we've got Kai Kara France and Pantoja. Who fights them next?
Do you have a matchup already in mind, or?
I think it's got to be Manal Kopp, right?
Manal Kopp, or I mean, what about Royval?
Royval is he's lost to Pantoja twice, right?
Is it twice, or is one of those? Yeah, he has lost to Pantoja twice. Yeah. Maybe him and Manal Kopp as like a title eliminator.
Well, why not just give Manal Kopp the fight next, whether it's Kai Kara France or Pantoja? You know,
it
feels like Brandon Royval might need to beating Tatsuro Taira, but maybe. Yeah. See, then we run into this weird thing of what do we do next?
Yeah.
Maybe Royval Moreno for their rubber match because Moreno's already had a win over Royval. Royval barely beat Moreno.
Mm-hmm.
We do a rubber match then.
See, that's the problem. Those two are really clogging things up right now. Like, and because they've beaten almost everyone else, but they can't beat Pantoja, and they're just splitting fights between those two. So,
yeah, and like Joshua Van, these are lower down contenders that are coming up. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's like, what do we do with? I mean, we're gonna jump ahead in kind of our order of talking, but like Kyoji Horiguchi has been
yeah.
re-signed by the UFC.
I saw
So
you linking that in our doc there. Like, what? How did that happen? And when? And what?
I know it's been 10 years since he fought Demetrius Johnson for the flyweight title,
Right.
and he's an absolute stud. If he fought Brandon Moreno or Royval for a number one contender fight, totally happy with that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah.
So if we had Pantoja versus Kai Kara France and then Royval or Moreno versus Horiguchi, and then whoever doesn't fight Horiguchi, maybe they fight Josh Van, Tatsuro Taira, like that sounds like a good kind of a good seed for the entire division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Like we've got Horiguchi in there. Let's get him into a number one contender fight. Maybe that's Royval, maybe that's Moreno, and
Yeah.
then Tatsuro Taira against whoever the other fuck person is. Now, already lost to Royval, but you couldn't run that back, but I don't know. Something close to that. Yeah, because we don't want to have this log jam at the top of flyweight.
Yeah.
What do you do with Erceg? Who do you have him fight?
Oh, poor Erceg. Like,
I know, because dude, he lost to Pantoja on a donkey brains decision. He lost an ultra close fight to Moreno. And look, everyone gets flatlined by Kakar France. So like, no harm, no foul.
yeah.
But like he's probably a top 5 fighter. He just hasn't had the chance to show it
Mm-hmm.
in his last 3 fights now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just, and this is the like the bad luck of the draw, running into 3 fights in a row, all within like 12 months of each other, where you're just against these rising stars or perennial contenders, and it's just it's a rough matchup for him. I really hope they keep him because his ability he is actually a very technical fighter, and he's very exciting to watch. And I really like watching him from a skill perspective. So, I mean, just getting.
He's got the dog in him. He got dropped in the first round of this fucking fight, right?
Yeah.
And he came back and fought all fucking 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Like that's real shit. Yeah, no, this dude's a stud. Keep him around forever, please.
Yeah. I think maybe fighting someone either in 10 to 15 or unranked, maybe Kaya Sakura. That is a little dangerous for him because Kaya Sakura is very heavy-handed, but
Is good.
I think Ray Saria, I think he would be that'd be an easy night for Steve Erceg, So, but then that's like killing off one of your other like potential rising prospects, So because he just lost too, so
Kai Sakura. Also on Mabayev, maybe.
Also Almabayev, yeah, that could be good. Yeah. I mean, there's still fights to be made for Steve Erceg, and I hope, like you said, I hope they give him like a more manageable fight. Like
100%. Yeah, it's not like it's unfair, but it's just like, come on, guys. He's clearly very good, and you're having to go outside the organization to Kaya Sakura, to Kyoji Horiguchi to find someone for Pantoja to fight. And you found this guy inside the organization, rushed him to a title fight after 3 fights, and now you're just making him fight title challenger after title holder after title challenger. Like, let's take a step back. Let's let him beat up Aso Amabayev. Let's let him kick the shit out of Tim Elliott. You know, like let's let him get a breather for half a second. You know,
It is one of those things though. Like if he had beaten either one of these, his name is thrown right back into immediate title contention. So,
but
I
do
could
we
see-
want to see him fight immediately again? Like he needs another one after this, even if he won.
Fair. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Give my man a breather. Let him breathe for a second, you know?
Yeah.
Because you'll fuck up his development. If he just fights these people endlessly, it's just he won't reach his potential. You know this, Colin. Like, you can't just have your fighters endlessly fighting blood and guts wars and have them get better. Because they're just gonna get fucked up during it. And then they're just not going to improve as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all talk about iron sharpening iron, but sometimes iron just chips the shit out of other iron, takes big chunks out of it, and it doesn't actually help. So, yeah, like Erceg needs a big step back, not because he's bad. I still firmly believe he could hold a belt in this division. Let's just give him 3 or 4 fights to kind of get right and then get to a title. Not one fight so you can get back to the title, or 2 fights so you can get back to the title. Let's give him 3 or 4. Let's slow roll this thing. Quote unquote slow roll it, because we're gonna get to Raul Rosas Jr., who's had 7 fights in the UFC, and he's saying he needs 12 more before a title shot. Like let's get Erceg kind of on that track. Let's get him slowly moving. Yeah. But happy to see Moreno, right? Love Moreno.
Yeah.
Cool.
He did good.
And he in the press conference said he wants to headline UFC Noche this year.
Okay.
Which is going to be in Guadalajara, Mexico in September. I'm thinking it's got to be him and Kyoji Horiguchi as the main event, right?
Yeah.
Because who else could it be? Can't be Valentina Shevchenko again. Can't be Sean O'Malley again. That can't be what we do. You know?
Yeah.
Can you think of any other Mexican fighter in the UFC that'd be worthwhile?
No.
Yeah.
I got nothing there.
It's got to be Brandon Moreno, Kyoji Horiguchi. Yeah. That's got to be it.
That would be good. That'd be really good.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the rest of this card, Colin. Did you watch the Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober fight?
No. Tell me how it went.
Oh, man. Drew Dober was looking so good.
Oh, no.
And then my boy got flatlined. Here's my thing. He's got the chin like Captain America, but I think it's cracked, and I think it's gone.
Oh, no.
Manuel Torres throws punches with his chin way up in the air, not looking at where he's throwing punches. But goddamn if he doesn't hit hard. And Drew Dober, it's sad to say. But I'm there, Drew Dober, so come and join me. You're old. We're old. It's just not going to happen for you, bud. A fun fight, an action fight. But Manuel Torres knocked Drew Dober out. And I will say, like, about, 15, 16, 17, 20 unanswered punches to the side of the head before the ref decided to end it.
Eesh.
You got to jump in faster, refs. You got to jump in faster. Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
And I had said that. I said, like, this probably will end in a finish. And I didn't even pick this as my finish of the night. Came back to bite me. Overall. Yeah. Besides that, Edgar Charas, CJ Vergara. Interesting post-fight. Edgar Charas talking about how his grandfather had to sell, like, his fight shorts on auction so he could get a surgery so he could fight. And you just go, like, that's a very inspiring speech, but it's not quite the inspiring speech you think it is. This is more of an indictment on the UFC's pay scale that you have to sell merchandise in order to get a surgery so you can fight in the UFC.
Yep.
Yeah. Raul Rosas Jr. Chihuihuis fights Vince Morales, and boy howdy, did I eat good on this one. This was a decision. I called that shit so good.
Yeah.
each round of the fight, Raul Rosas Jr. was about 5 seconds away from being choked out. And he was saved by the bell on at least 2 of those 3 rounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Raul Rosas Jr. said that he probably needs 10 to 12 more fights before a title fight. And here's my thing. Colin, do you think the UFC will give him 10 to 12 more fights before they
Hell
give him a
no.
title shot? I know. How, legitimately, not because it is fucked up. He should get 10 to 12 fights because that is the right speed at which he should be progressing. He's only 20 years old. Can't even legally drink in the United States. You know what I mean? How many fights do they let him have before they fucking throw him in the deep end and are like, I don't know, fight Corey Sandhagen, fight Umar Nurmagomedov, fight someone real?
Yeah.
What do you think? How many fights?
Uh,
Because he's had 6 wins. He's had 7 fights in the UFC.
yeah. I think he definitely should fight someone ranked his next fight.
Oh,
Maybe
no, you're going to kill him, son. We just went through this. You're going to kill him.
I know, but I mean, they've been slow rolling already. So who are they going to give him to fight next?
Well, he lost to who did he lose to coming up?
Christian Rodriguez.
And Melquizael Costa beat Christian Rodriguez. So how about he's not ranked? Costa versus Raul Rosas Jr.
Okay. Sure.
Here's the thing. Costa's gonna beat Raul Rosas Jr. and then lose to an unranked opponent. That's not a great look, right?
Yeah.
You kind of can't do that. But also, who are you gonna throw him against? Jose Aldo is number 11 in this division. You gonna put Raul Rosas Jr. against Jose Aldo?
No, hell no.
Right? That's not a good look. Number 9 is Henry Cejudo. You gonna put him against Henry Cejudo? No. Like I told you, Henry Cejudo would beat him within an inch of his stupid life. That's not gonna cut it. Rob Font, Sonya Dong, Corey Sandhagen, Umar Nurmagomedov? No. We can't be playing that game. He still has to be fighting for at least 2 fights unranked opponents.
Wow, that many, huh?
Bro, he nearly got tapped 3 times in a row in this fight by Vince Morales. 2 of them, one, he did escape well, and I'll give him full credit for that. He escaped the choke. The other 2, it looked like he was hey, you're kind of in peril, and I don't see how you're escaping this. And he was saved by the bell. So, what do you want to do? You can't throw him against Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo will eat this boy like a little snack. You know what? It will not be good for him. So he needs probably 2, 3, maybe 4 fights before he gets into the top 15. But again, is this going to kind of be like the Bo Nickel thing where we just go well, who cares? I've lost interest by the time you've gotten good enough to fight in the top 15, because basically the max for most contenders is 8 fights before you have to fight for a title. Because that's John Fitch, that's Max Holloway, that's us going we're clamoring to see you fight for the title, and it feels like it's been egregious that you haven't fought with 8 wins. Raul Rosas Jr. is on a 6-fight win, or he's had 6 wins in the UFC. Are we gonna let him get 2, 3, 4, 5 more before we even get him to the top 15?
I think we need to ask a different question. Not just how many wins you need to rack up, but what do you need to see differently from him that would make you think, okay, he's a legit contender? Because there are other young fighters in the UFC that you already think yeah, he's a contender. Oh wow, he's a rising star. Oh yeah, he's got potential. So what do you want to see from Raul Rosas Jr. that would tip the scales in your mind?
Probably 2 things. Number 1,
okay,
you gotta be dispatching of these low-level opponents with the quickness, right? You gotta, Ilia Topuria coming up, you gotta be thumping these motherfuckers into oblivion.
Got it.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And when you can't do that, are you showing the poise, the savvy, the technique? Where I go in the same way that Ilia Topuria was coming up. Oh, he probably could compete against top 5 year Rodriguez, Josh Emmett, right? For Raul Rosas Jr., when I look at him, do I go, wow, he really could definitely beat Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, Davison Figueiredo? I don't think that, right? I don't see the skill output when he's being taken to a decision to go like, yeah, he could definitely out-decision Jose Aldo. No way do I think that. Nor is he blasting through. Because you can have that kind of weird Conor McGregor effect where you blast through people so fast where you go, well, I don't know. Could he compete if it went 3 rounds? We don't know. And then he proves it out when he fights like Chad Mendez or whatever. Raul Rosas Jr. has gone 3 rounds and he's almost been submitted by a low-level fighter each time. And I'm like, dude, Jose Aldo might be able to submit you. This is not a good look. Yeah. So that's what I would say. You need to be disposing of these fools like they're jabronis, or if they're not jabronis, you need to be able to show me that you've got so much technique and poise and skill that can up level to a top 15 opponent. And right now I'm like, you're going to need about 6 more fights to show me that, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he's young. He's 20, right? And I get it.
He's young, yeah.
But we talked about this last time. Like, you got 5 to 8 good years, and he's already spent 2 of them dicking around with low-level opponents. So, like, what? You got, at best, 7 more? And I don't see you beating... Dude, Sean O'Malley will blast your chin into the stratosphere. It's not going to happen. And your grappling is your main calling card? You're not going to out-grapple Merab or Umar or Petr Yan. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I don't know what you got, dude. I don't know what you got, other than screaming Chiwiwis. And that's not enough for me.
All right. I got a question for you then. And this was kind of out of left field, and it might destroy the futures of one of these guys. But they both are young prospects. Both excited for different reasons. But both have shown basically an inability, like you said, like to break into the top 15 out of a very competitive division. And we could take the chance of just slow rolling them to get them there. Or what would they need to show to actually break in? So having Raul Rosas Jr. against Peyton Talbot.
I mean, I think Peyton Talbot will work him like a summer job. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so like, you think Peyton Talbot is head and shoulders where he should be. He's like the 2 years ahead of. I mean, he is a lot older than Raul Rosas Jr. I think he's like 25 or something.
Yeah,
but like, but he could, like, with his next win or next to it, he should be jumping to fight the top 15.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton Talbot is the real deal, Holyfield. Like, Peyton Talbot might never wear UFC bantamweight gold, but he's, I mean, kind of like how Ortega and Rodriguez, Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez have always been floating in that top 5 and like title challenger reign of the featherweight. Peyton Talbot strikes me as that position in 2 or 3 years at bantamweight. Maybe he'll win the title, maybe he won't, but he'll always be kind of this like elite gatekeeper. Where Raul Rosas Jr., I go like, okay, maybe you'll be a Jim Miller for this division, but never a Benson Henderson, never a, Gilbert Melendez, Anthony Pettis. Like, you'll just be on the outside. Gee, that's a great fight. Peyton Talbot and Raul Rosas Jr. That's a good fucking fight. That's a number 3 spot on like a UFC pay-per-view. That's a good fucking fight. I'd watch that fight.
All right.
That's good. That's good matchmaking, Colin.
Hey,
and if
thank
UFC
you.
Doesn't do that, They should call you because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Because if Peyton Talbot gets taken down and gets choked up by Brow Rosas Jr., I'll go, holy shit, Rosas Jr., he's arrived. But if Peyton Talbot snipes Chiwiwis and kills him, I'll be like, right on. I knew it, Peyton Talbot.
Right on.
I knew it. Yeah. Like, I knew you were the man. Yeah. No, that's a great contender fight at bantamweight.
Yeah. All right.
Now, here's the thing. We got to talk very briefly. It didn't happen on this card.
Yeah.
Both of us had a bet on Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah. But we both also
Piper.
said, what's the chances of this one not happening? Like, for various reasons.
But here's the thing. We thought it would be Kelvin Gastelum pulling out. I know, right? And then, did you see Joe Piper's insanely racist rant after this thing? Being like,
no!
He's like, I got food poisoning. Fuck Mexico. It's dirty and filthy, and I hate it here. I'm never fighting here again, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, you're in Mexico City. Like, truly a world-renowned city. A fantastic city. Like, the NYC to South America. And you got food poisoning? Bitch, you poor. You're not eating at real nice restaurants. You're eating at bogus-ass shit restaurants. Go fuck yourself. And then he's like, I'm never fighting here again. Fuck this. It's a shithole country. And I'm like, look, dude, if you can't enjoy Mexico City, you're white trash and you don't know what the fuck's going on. Fuck Joe Piper. I hope he loses every fight for the rest of his life. I'm going to take this win for Kevin Gastelum. So maybe I should be hitting the points, but we'll debate that later.
Well, I had Kevin Gastelum winning too, man.
I know, and I think we should count it. Because Joe Piper weighed in and then bitched out and did a weird Trump rant about Mexico, and it's like, go fuck yourself, Joe Piper. Anyway,
hey,
whatever.
Well said.
Yeah. What else we got on here? I nailed. Well, I didn't nail because I got the wrong one. Listen. I mentioned it last time. Atiba Gauthier, 1-0 out of Cameroon. I warned us. I was like, whoa, he's only 1-0, but he's out of Cameroon? Fuck, he might get the knockout. And boy, howdy, did he get this knockout. He demolished Jose Daniel Medina. Boys are built different in Cameroon. I'll say that. They're built different. And Gauthier, I don't know how far he'll go. It's middleweight. Sean Strickland goes far. Drix du Plessis goes far. I've given up my ability to predict who is good and who is bad at middleweight. But
yeah.
Gauthier, a stud. Absolutely demolished him. And I will say, I said it was going to be a TKO in the first round, and by God and by golly, it was TKO in the first round. Yeah. What else? Christian Rodriguez, I was surprised that he lost to Costa. He looked pretty flat in that one. The Lubi Godinez Polistari fight was really entertaining. Now, here's the thing, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
I have to compliment you.
Oh, okay.
You picked Rafa Garcia and Vince Pichel to go to a submission, which was my number one pick. And it went to a decision.
I know.
So, I'm glad you made a random pick overall. Yeah, it was not a great fight overall. But I will say, I called it out because you said, Gabriel Miranda as your underdog pick.
Yep.
Jamal Emrys, dude, keep an eye on that motherfucker.
Yeah,
he's
destroyed him apparently. Like, damn.
Did you see that TKO?
No, but I read about it and I was like, I heard like, oh, okay, well, you know what?
A thing of beauty. So overall, like a pretty entertaining card. I know you only watched the main event, but having watched the majority of it, a pretty much better than the London card.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that was the fight card. So you're up by 1 point against me.
I know.
Is that plus 20, and I'm at plus 19 for our picks.
All right.
So we're not going to make picks for the upcoming card, but this Volk Lopez card, that'll be the
That's
That'll
gonna be a
separate
big
the men
one.
from the boys.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'm coming.
that'll be a
I'll
good
do my
one.
research on that one.
Yeah, and we might pick way more than 5 fights on that one. We might
Oh
move
shit,
up and
really?
down the card. Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, it's a fucking good card, dude. What are you talking about? Now,
Oh,
we have
nice.
lost Jeff Neal versus Carlos Preites, but maybe Carlos Preites will be fighting Ian Gary or Joaquin Buckley. So,
Mhm.
that's good. But we've got Volkanovski, Diego Lopez,
Yep.
Chandler Pimblett,
Yep.
Bryce Mitchell, Blue Jean Silva. Oh,
Yep.
if Carlos Preites stays in that card, he'll be there. Patricio Pitbull Silva versus Yair Rodriguez.
Mhm.
And Nikki Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Sean Woodson, the homunculus, against Dan Ige.
Yep.
Yan Xiaonan is fighting. Jim Miller against the youngest man ever, Chase Hooper. Like, we got some good fights on this card.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We might have 10 picks on this motherfucking card.
Holy shit.
But that's not happening now. Colin, we have other things to talk about. So,
Yeah.
I don't know where you want to start. Let's go through the news super quickly. Conor McGregor has announced his candidacy for the Irish presidency. Colin, if you were an Irish citizen, would you vote for Conor McGregor?
Fuck no.
All right, cool. As an American citizen, do you think this means affirmatively, without a shadow of doubt, Conor McGregor does not fight in the UFC again within the next 3 years?
I mean, I think it depends on what actually happens. Like the logical part of my brain says he will not win. However, a lot of crazy shit's been happening in politics all around the world, and I have studied political science in college, but that was a long time ago. I'm not a politician. I'm not any one of those people. So I can't tell you what the fuck is going to happen. You know, so if he
Can
doesn't
I say
win,
this? Conor McGregor's popularity poll amongst the US, the UK, Canada, Ireland, and USA.
okay.
So those 4 countries, it is lowest amongst Irish voters.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go then.
Yeah, he is widely despised by the Irish voting base.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know who he's loved by?
Americans.
American Republicans. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depressing.
But the fact that he's announced that makes me think he's not fighting again, right? If you're making that jump, if you're doing that silly business, you're out. You're out of the game. You're not dieting. You're not showing up at 6 a.m. to do road work. You're not doing your rounds appropriately.
Mhm.
You're not, like, the fact that he broke a pinky toe, like, and I'm not even mad at that. A ton of fighters fight injured. He definitely earned not fighting with an injury if he didn't want to against Michael Chandler, but, like, he fought with a blown out knee. He fought with a bad back. He fought with a broken hand before. The fact that he decided, I'm not going to fight the last time he was scheduled to with a broken pinky toe, I'm like, he's out of the game. And now that he's announcing running for political office, I don't think we ever see Conor McGregor fight again.
I'm not broken up by that, so.
Yeah. No, it's not, like, sad. It's just like, I don't know. What a weird, like, we saw Conor fight for the last time and we didn't realize it, you know? And he was the biggest star in MMA, right?
Mhm.
Like, we knew when it was Anderson Silva's last time. We knew, well, we didn't quite know, but we knew the night, like, not even the night after, a few hours after it was GSP's last time. You know, like, we knew. And we never knew with Conor. It's been dragged out for so fucking long. But I hope he gets his pants sued off him and he pays billions of dollars to all the people that he's wronged, and that's that. Let's move on.
All right.
Kyoiji Horiguchi is coming to the UFC. We alluded to this when we were talking about the Flyweight Division. Colin, how excited are you for Kyoiji Horiguchi to be back in the UFC?
I'm stoked for it. He like when he was first fighting in the UFC, he only had a handful of fights, right? Like 3-4 fights.
Yeah, I think it was only 3 fights, and then he fought Demetrius Johnson for the title.
Yeah, and then lost. And then did they just cut him from there? Because then he
Yes.
went to that's
Rizin.
whack. Yeah. So
Now,
yeah, no, I'm
he's
excited. Like I
34
want
years
to go
old.
back.
Yeah, 34 years old, has been an absolute stud on the Japanese scene.
Mhm.
His dream is to become the first UFC Japanese champion. Colin,
Okay.
do you think he will become the first UFC Japanese champion?
Ugh. Do I think he can beat Pantoja? Basically,
Basically, do you think he can beat Pantoja?
I don't know, man. I kept thinking. The more I watch Pantoja fight, the more I said this. I think last episode or 2 episodes ago. The more I watch him fight, the more I'm impressed by him, and the more that like I feel like he's getting better and better with each fight, which is what you'd hope. But as champion, like you usually don't see someone continue to grow at at such a clip when you're at the top because everyone's chasing you, so everyone's level reaches up to you. But when he keeps leveling himself up that way, like what is good for the division, but also like I don't know. I think and I honestly haven't seen any of Horiguchi's recent fights, so I just don't know where he stacks up. Yeah,
he's good. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would ask, like, if not him, is there any Japanese fighter in the UFC right now that you would pick to be the first Japanese fighter? Because we got Tatsuro Taira, Rei Tsuruya, Kaya Sakura, all at flyweight. Kaya Sakura could fight at bantamweight. So could Kyoji Horiguchi. He's fought at 135 before, but like, of those, who's your front runner for most likely to win a championship?
I mean, all right, let's run through those 4 really quickly. Rei Tsuruya and Kaya Sakura are kind of the same person, opposite sides of the same coin right now. They're very heavy in one aspect. Kaya Sakura, very, very strong striker, no ground game. Rei Tsuruya, very good, like crazy weird grappling, no stand-up game whatsoever. So those two both have to develop a little bit more. Kaya Sakura is older though. Isn't he in his mid-30s as well?
I think he's like 34, yeah. I think he's the same age as Kyoji, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't see Kaya Sakura suddenly picking up a strong ground game. So I don't really see that as a possibility. Rei Tsuruya, though, he's like 22, 23. He's pretty young.
I think he's pretty early 20s.
Yeah. So I don't think he'll become like a incredible star-studded striker, but he has time to develop that a little bit. And if you mix that up with his really, really dynamic and unorthodox grappling, then he could be, a major contender and someone to be worried about. I really do think, though, Tatsuro Taira and Kyoji Horiguchi have the best shot. Horiguchi has the experience, and the time, but that's also working against him in that it basically has to happen like right now. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard, in basically a dynamic young person's division. I mean, Tatsuro Taira has a little bit more. Yeah.
Same age as Pantoja, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So that does make it intriguing, like a former title challenger coming back after what has it been now? 10 years?
10 years. Yeah,
10 years to try to reclaim or try to claim something that he couldn't get, and he lost by armbar in the last second of the 5th round, but yeah, it is an intriguing matchup if that does come to fruition, but
okay. So, Horiguchi or Taira, who do you think has a better chance of becoming the first Japanese champion?
I think I'd have to go with Tatsuro Taira, but I think what's going to happen is it's just going to be waiting out Pantoja. I think that's what's going to happen. Either someone's going to take gold from Pantoja and Tatsuro Taira will take it from that person, or Pantoja retires and Tatsuro Taira will be one of the people to step in.
Interesting. Okay.
I I haven't seen any of Horiguchi's recent fights, so I don't know what he's done in the last 10 years, but I am pretty high on Pantoja right now. So unless you think that he is that much better than Pantoja, which would be like incredible,
Well, no. This is not a who's better than Pantoja calculation. This is like who can outrun the other person as a bear is chasing them calculation.
Okay. Well, that's the thing. Like, okay.
I think Horiguchi. I'm gonna lay it down. Horiguchi's better than Tatsuro Taira. I think he'll hold UFC gold, and he'll be the first Japanese champion.
Oh, okay. And do you think he takes it from Pantoja, or do you think he takes it from Kai Kara France?
He'll take it from whoever has the belt, whether it's Kai Kara France or Pantoja.
Wow. Okay.
I think.
Wow, I like that. That's a bold pick right there.
If I was the UFC, there's going to be a fight in April, or is it May, between Kai Kara France and Pantoja. Then in September, they're going to have the Noche fight, and I think it'll be Moreno versus Horiguchi. Horiguchi will win, and then he will win at the end of the year in December against whoever the title holder is.
Wow, that's so you think he'll have that quick of a turnaround too? I
think he's gotta. The time is not on his side. Motherfucker's old. Not for the earth, but for the flyweight division. You know what I mean?
Know. Well, I was thinking like if he wants to be champion by the end of the year, I think he needs to fight like July or something.
Yeah, I mean he's got to fight now, right? He's got to fight now. Maybe he'll fight Royval.
Okay, that I can see. That'd be
like he could fight because he has. I think he's had a fight against Manal Cop. Like has Manal Cop again? Maybe I'm thinking of Kaya Sakura. Whatever. He's gonna fight soon. Get in there, Horiguchi. Live up to your potential. You fought for the title 10 years ago when you were way too young, and now you're an old crusty sea dog. Get in there, win the title.
Yeah. All right. No, I love it. I love that kind of prediction.
Yeah. And I love Horiguchi. So, yeah. That's where I'm at. All right. The GFL, Colin, the Grandpa Fighting League, announced their first 2 cards. Have you taken a look at these?
I have, and wow, some of these names. Like,
I want you to give me a rating from just a 1 to 3. From like rock hard to semi-flaccid to full limp. That's what I kind of want. Just 1 to 3, right? On all these. So, main event for the first card is going to be Uriah Faber versus Renan Barão. Where are we at on that one?
Dude, okay, if we're using this limp to hard scale, this is like
all the way inside, turtled all the way in.
No, this is like finding out, like, that one like Hollywood crush you had on like in high school or something like that. Suddenly, in today's day, now has a leaked video of them, and you're like, ooh, like I'm kind of interested for a nostalgic sake, but also I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not. What a great way to describe it, because it's 2 45-year-old men.
Whoa, wait, Uriah Faber and Renan Barão are both 45? No way.
Listen, Uriah Faber is 45. Renan Barão might be our age, but it doesn't matter because they're both old, right? Like, and you're right. We won't call it. No, this is more like. This would be like learning like Justin Timberlake had a sex tape now that we'd watch. Like, not even like a Hollywood crush. Like, somebody were like, oh, you were like kind of like a popular person when we were young.
Yeah.
A bad fight.
Yeah. Renan Barão is 38.
Yeah. I mean, Uriah Faber even at 45, should kill Renan Barão, because Renan Barão has been washed for 2 decades. That's a bummer. All right. Anthony Pettis in the trilogy against Benson Henderson. How do you feel about that shit?
Didn't they? I mean, it's not an MMA fight, but didn't they fight in the Karate Combat League, the one that has like the weird like space atmosphere or whatever?
Ooh, maybe. So is this a quadrilogy? I think they fought 3 times in MMA. I think.
Well, because they fought once in WEC, one's for UFC Gold, and
and then once in Karate Combat. So this is the quadrilogy.
Yeah, I think so.
By God and by golly, you're right.
Yeah.
So how much interest do you have from this shit?
Again, it's the same exact thing. Like, I have really fond memories of their final fight in the WEC, which was wild and back and forth and had that, again, the Showtime kick, which is played on all the time,
Yeah.
It was the last card in the WEC. I remember watching it at a bar in college. Then their rematch when they got folded into the UFC. I was there for their fight when Anthony Pettis beat Benson Henderson for the win. But this was all fucking 10 years ago.
So long ago, dude. Like, we were in college that long ago.
Yeah, and they're both known for being very dynamic and athletic fighters, and I don't know how much of that they still have, and they had technique for sure, and I like both of them a lot. Some of the things that made them so exciting to watch, I don't know if they can still do those things.
Yeah, I mean, they're like still in the top 0.1 percentile of people over the age of 40. But that's over the age of 40. Like, that's not
Are they both over 42?
I don't know. Benson Henderson, I think, is Anthony Pettis might be like 38, 39, but like,
no, Benson Henderson's 41.
Now they old as fuck. They old as fuck, man. Like, it's just true.
Anthony Pettis is 38.
I mean, 38. Not great at lightweight. Not great. Yeah, old people fighting again. Same with Uriah Faber, Hannah Brow. Just old as fuck people fighting. All right, great. Moving on. Speaking of other old as fuck people, Holly Holm versus Julia Budd. Any interested in that shit? No? Okay, moving on.
No.
Chad Mendez versus a guy we've never heard of. Who gives a shit? Derek Brunson is still fighting?
Yeah, what?
Oh, no. Sage Northcutt? Oh, no, Colin. Now, here's a fight that I feel like should have never been licensed. Marlon Moraes versus Ray Borg. Colin.
Yeah.
I don't even have a question to ask you. Just like, is this elderly abuse?
I mean,
because it kind of feels like bum fights, right? It kind of feels like you're paying two people half a hoagie to get into a fist fight, and it feels uncomfortable.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. How old do you think these two are?
Well, Marlon Moraes is not too much older than us.
No, he's 36.
Yeah, and Ray Borg might actually be younger than us.
He is. He's 31.
Yeah, but like, I mean, listen. We all age at different rates, and we all enter and exit our athletic prime at different times, but it's important to remember that your body is the only body you get in this lifetime, and abusing it endlessly is not a good idea. So, but here's the thing. I know the only reason they took these fights, both Ray Borg and Marlon Moraes, and Ray Borg has a history of having like a child with severe health problems, and the American health system is not great when it comes to like not absolutely ravaging your wallet. So I know both of them are fighting because they have no money at all, and that makes me very sad. But at the same time, I'm not gonna watch it.
No,
I'm not gonna watch it.
I also totally forgot that Marlon Moraes lost 7 in a row.
Yeah.
All by TKO or KO. Like,
yeah.
that's
he missed weight a lot of the time. Like, bro was having a hard time.
Yeah.
Aspen Lads fighting. Who gives a shit? Robles Despaigne versus Todd Duffy. Todd Duffy? Yeah, you remember that name?
Yeah. Whoa! I was not expecting to see that name pop up. What the fuck?
I know. Must be having a hard life. What a bummer. We've got Katz and Gano fighting as well. Like, kind of wild. Jessica Penne. We're talking about like pioneers in women's MMA. So a bummer. This first card for the GFL, a real bummer. I'd call it elderly abuse. But that doesn't even get to the second card, Colin.
No, oh my god.
The main event of the second card is Tony Ferguson versus Dylan Dennis. I have 2 questions, Colin. 1, will you be watching that fight? And 2, who is your favorite to win this fight?
Well, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Who is Dylan Dennis?
You don't know who Dylan Dennis is?
No.
My brother in Christ. Dylan Dennis was so he got kicked off John Danaher's grappling team.
Okay.
You know who John Danaher is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kicked off his team as a brown belt, not even a black belt, but he was like a very competitive brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Why was he kicked out?
Because he's a filthy cunt and no one liked him.
Okay.
And then he became Conor McGregor's grappling coach around the Nate Diaz 2 fight overall. And then he tried to attach himself to Conor McGregor. Loud, boisterous, obnoxious, piece of shit overall. Then he started picking fights with KSI and the Paul brothers.
I saw that he had a boxing match with the Paul brothers and eventually tried to do a choke, trying to take him down. What the fuck?
Yeah, trying to get himself DQ'd, basically. He's basically a no-talent asshat who used to be a very good grappler out of the John Danaher squad overall.
Okay.
But it's been, maybe 8 years since he was a legit submission grappler. But he's just been trying to keep his name relevant by trolling people, being actually trying to hack, was it Jake Paul's wife's Twitter account and posting lewd photos of her, leaking her nudes, an actual deplorable human being, just chasing clout overall. He sucks. He's a decent grappler, but sucks everywhere else. Has 0 stand-up, has 0 wrestling, is basically a fail son of the submission grappling world. So the question is, with all that in mind, can the ghost of Tony Ferguson beat him?
Oh God, I don't know, man.
I know, right? It's hard.
That's brutal.
Because basically we've got Tony Ferguson 900 years after his body was a viable fighting specimen, going against someone who hasn't been a serious submission grappler in 8 years, but is much younger. Who wins in this fight? It doesn't matter, because who cares? It sucks. It's a bad fight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then as a co-main event, we have Ovince St. Preux, the most boring light heavyweight that has ever existed, fighting. I mean,
this makes me sad.
Alexander Gustafsson, I loved him. He was part of a wonderful period at light heavyweight, but he is washed beyond belief. So what the fuck are we doing? We're bringing 2 geriatrics out to fist fight for money for our entertainment. This is a bad look, and I don't want to watch this fight. Uriah Hall is also fighting against Douglas Lima? What the fuck? Paige Van Zandt taking a break from OnlyFans, which I don't know why. Supposedly, she makes close to $9 million a year on OnlyFans. Why would you be getting in fistfights if you're making $9 million a year on OnlyFans? If I was making 1/10 of that, I would not be fistfighting. I would not be doing anything. I'd just be posing on OnlyFans. Colin knows about this. Colin makes significantly more than that on OnlyFans. Right? If you're making $9 million a year, fuck. Why are you getting in fistfights? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Who else is on this card? Lima McFarland, another OnlyFans star. We've got Alan Belcher. Remember Alan Belcher?
Yeah.
He has the worst tattoo ever of Johnny Cash on his bicep. And he out-grappled Husimar Paharis, which is pretty cool. That's all I give a shit about on this. Colin, for these 2 cards, what is your rating for the GFL?
Ugh, I'm disgusted.
Well, that's not a rating. Give me a 1 to 10.
2.
Ooh, a 2. God damn. So even a UFC Apex card is better than this shit.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because nothing good can come from this. Like I was
No.
telling you before, like a lot of these have names that we came up with and we like really have like good like fond memories of. And if say no one gets hurt, right? The at very best it could be like, okay, it was okay. Like I wasn't disappointed, you know? But that's like if it was the best possible thing. You know,
no, I
the
agree.
worst possible is someone gets really hurt, or we look at it and go, "Oh, now my last memory is of you with this really crappy fight, not you doing something incredible at the height of your career." You know, like
No, you're exactly. It's like Steve from Blue's Clues and Mr. Rogers getting in a knife fight. I'm just sad that one of them gets a knife to death. Like it's a bad time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
we're having a bad time. It's not great. It's actually not just not great. It's kind of ghoulish that they've trotted these people out to get into fistfights again.
yeah.
And like, God bless them. I wish they had the money so they didn't have to do this. And it's clear they don't have the money. Because some of these people, I see their names and I go like, what the fuck? If you had any money, you wouldn't do this. But what a sad, duplicitous world we live in. I will not be watching the GFL fight card, but that's good content, Colin. We will be talking about the highlights when probably the majority of the people we've talked about are turned into absolute dust in a short GIF that we can watch. But we'll talk about that later. That's for May. We've got a whole month of April to talk about before then. And Colin, you've got one final thing you want to talk about before we get into April overall.
Yeah.
Lay it on.
So an article came out that basically well, I do like that a lot of fans are just trashing Dana White for this, but basically Jack Della Maddalena is like doing a fundraiser or something to just get his whole team to the fight, you know? And I know fighters in the past have done fundraisers for anything like, but still, this is a fucking title fight, you know? And the UFC can't pay to have one of their supposed star fighters come out with all of his coaching staff or anyone to come out and get him ready or house or whatever. Like that's just it's fucking bogus. You know, you alluded to it earlier and we've talked about it at length, like the fact that the UFC just does not pay its fighters. And it's pretty horrendous that Jack Della Maddalena has to resort to that. Essentially, basically doing a GoFundMe, you know? That's like pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean that's so two things. One is the UFC will pay to get you and two of your cornermen out to a fight, right?
Okay.
So, and that's pretty standard. They will get you and your two cornermen out. So you see UFC fighters with 4 cornermen, 3 cornermen, anything above 2, those are ones that they paid for themselves. The UFC never, ever pays to have more than 2 cornermen flown out. And they obviously don't pay the best because a lot of them talk about flying coach, a lot of layovers. They do it on the cheap. And this is not a net new thing. Here's a little behind the scenes. I went to, what was it? So UFC. What was the one that GSP fought Matt Serra for the second time? UFC.
Like where was it or?
No. What UFC number was it?
Oh,
anyway,
Jesus. I don't.
We're talking about like UFC 90 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went to Montreal while eating out in Montreal that night. I met Pete Sell. Pete Sell, for you that don't know, was one of Matt Serra's number 1 training partners. I had a chance to talk to him very briefly, got his autograph. I was like, what, 17 at the time, so I was very excited. But he said that he had flown out from New York on his own dollar so that he could corner Matt Serra, the champion at the time, against George St. Pierre, because only Ray Longo and a jiu-jitsu coach for Matt Serra could fly out, and the other two coaches that he had in his corner. And he said, like, oh yeah, that's normal. And that has been very normal in the UFC. They only fly out 2 people in your corner, even if you have 4 people, or even if you have people, like, we hear about fighters flying out to create, like, Dubai or Mexico City to acclimate for weeks on end. If you want to do that, the UFC is not flying out anyone else. The UFC is not covering your hotel, except for the, I think, basically the 2 nights before and the 2 nights after. They are super frugal about who they fly out and when they fly out. So when Jack Della Maddalena says, I want my whole team with me, just like every other fighter that has ever fought in the UFC, you don't get to do that. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing, or like, but I'm just saying, like, if you think this is a travesty now, this has been going on since the beginning of the UFC. They have been absolute cheap bastards since the beginning of time. They've been squeezing their fighters since I'm seeing, like, UFC 60, like, way fucking back in the day. I'm talking 2006, 2007. They're not flying out more than 2 people with you.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. Yeah. Especially because the UFC just recorded $2.1 billion in earnings in 2024. Right? Like, come now. We can be flying out a couple of people. Especially because Jack Della Maddalena is flying to Montreal from Australia. That's like a 27-hour flight. You know? Like, you can comp coach class tickets for a 27-hour flight. That's crazy. But this is what happens when we have monopoly. Monopoly just enters a wealth extraction era, and they just take everything they have from you. Look at everything. Look at the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of everything. My brothers and sisters, only the proletariat can rise up. And if you think you're more aligned with Dana White than you are the fighters, you are sorely mistaken. Just because you like the Joe Rogan podcast, you're much more like the fighters making 10 and 10 than you are Dana White or Joe Rogan. Yeah. It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. Yeah. On top of this, did you hear about Artem Vakatov?
No. What's going on?
He beat Israel Adesanya and he beat
Alex Pereira. Yeah.
They said, hey, if you want to get into the UFC, so he's a light heavyweight kickboxer.
Yeah.
The most decorated kickboxer outside of maybe Overeem the UFC would ever have signed. Better than Izzy. Better than Poatan. They said, hey, fight in Dana White Contender Series, and they'll offer you a contract. He knocks the guy out, and they offer him, guess what? The same $10K to win, $10K to show contract that they offer every other jabroni. And he said, hey, I'm one of the best kickboxers in the world. And they said, take it or leave it. And he left it. Because the UFC doesn't give a shit about signing good fighters, don't give a shit about doing right by the fighters that they currently have. They only give a shit about how much money can we squeeze out of our audience and not give to the fighters overall. It's very sad. It's sad, man. And I don't know what to do about it other than there are many ways to find fights and be able to enjoy the fights. There are many streams. There are many buff streams. There are many crack streams. There are many meth streams that you can look up, and you might be able to watch the fights at your leisure. That's what I'll say. Yeah. Anyway, is that everything, Colin?
I think that's everything.
Most of the stuff. Yeah. I mean, UFC Mexico City, pretty good. You only watched the final fight, but a pretty good card overall. we've got a dog shit card coming up, which we will not be making picks on. We will only allude to very briefly. It's Emmett versus Murphy. Who cares? It's Apex. You're not going to get me to watch that. I'm not a sucker. But what we do have is the week after. I mean, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the best on paper pay-per-view fights we've seen. I don't know, in 2 quarters in a long ass time. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we're going to do like a full, it might be a 10 fight breakdown of that fucking card.
Holy shit.
We've got some boxing news as well, but for now, we're being down on the UFC and their shitty business practices. We're not voting for Conor McGregor for the Irish presidency, even though neither one of us has the ability to vote in that country. And what we're saying is, Moreno, great. Steve Erceg, I hope you get a step back. Fight Asu Almobayev. We're sure you can beat him. And I love Asu Almobayev. He's my boy. But Erceg, I think you can do it. Anyway. This is one fight fan, Stuart.
This is one of the other 2 fight fans calling.
Nah, yeah, this is just one. And this is another one. Yeah, listen. It's grim times out there, people. But there is light around the corner. And that means Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. And so help me God, if that fight gets canceled, I'll probably walk into the ocean. All right, everybody. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.